Welcome back, Battalion. I've got a challenge for you today. I'm going to do a two-part video. It's about efficiency on how to farm in the stores, how to get your relic materials. I'm telling you right now, I am making this guarantee. Unless you're a hardcore player, or if you're under 7 million, I challenge you. If you don't find something that you didn't know in this video, unsubscribe. Unsubscribe. I don't want that, but I'm challenging you. Shut up, Duru. I already see you hitting the button. All right, let's get her in. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about, there are 2 relic items that you guys should never run out of, and I'm going to go over that here shortly. But I want to show you some tricks and tips in the game. We're going to start out with this one right here. I actually hadn't noticed this before. I don't know if something changed, but I noticed it this week. I always just went ahead and did the hard level. Each one of these right here, I guess they're over here. No, over there. My camera's not big enough. You are getting 20 for the Ewok and 10 for all the rest. So the easiest one to get it over as fast as you can, put it on auto, get it done. If there's 20, so you're getting double the amount of that. If you guys don't understand where that benefits you, you're going to get your shard shop currency. For anybody that's new, in here, you'll get twice as many of these shards. So make sure the next time the Galactic Bounty comes around, watch out for that sneaky scam. All right, getting into it. Shipments. Let's go into the store. Go into the store right here, and I'll show you guys what I like to farm. This is the way I do it. I'm sure there are better ways. There are other things, but this is the way I do it. And there might be some things that you guys learned from this, specifically the newer players. The Omegas are in this store. I don't remember the exact cost, but they're pretty cheap considering with the raid material. Right here, you get 5 of them. It's not a whole lot. It's for the MK1, so the cheap one, but you can only get it every 7 days. Some people will get the Omicron here. I find it way too expensive. 50,000 for 2 Omegas isn't too bad. If you've got a lot of ally points sitting around, you will go through a dry spell on Omegas and Zetas. So you should buy them there. But I've been utilizing mine on Datacron, so I have not been buying those. And remember to keep in mind, over here, when you're farming GLs, you should be doing your fleet shard to get crystals. Fill up on your dark side currency. You can hold, I believe, 144 at any given time. Outside of that, I won't farm anything out of this store. Moving on to Cantina. You're only going to farm ships. You get more of the return of the shard shop currency on ships than you do with the characters. If you're desperate, that's fine. You can go get the characters. I want to say it's like 190 for the ship and then 150 for the characters. And you can see there's 10 of these guys here and 5 here. So I'll go ahead and make the sacrifice. I spent the 400 there. I got 150 shards converted for 10 characters. And I believe it's not 190, maybe 170 for 5 ships. So keep that in mind when you're farming out of that store. Do not buy characters. Get the ships if you can help it. Conquest store. So if you're doing Conquest, I know there's a lot of people don't want to do Conquest. Guys, do Conquest. Even if you only get 3 boxes back. If you get, at a minimum, I say you got to get the 3rd box. You got to get the 3rd box because you could still get the Conquest tune within 4 to 6 conquests if you're doing the minimum, per se, of the Conquest. Don't spend any of these burritos, as they call them, on anything but the character if you're doing that. If you're full out doing Conquest and get red box, you can spend it wherever you want. Where I spend it in particular is when I was trying to farm Terran Malicos because I took 8 months off. I had to buy the characters through here. They'll pop up. You'll see the Fury is right here. That way you don't have to do Proving Grounds because Proving Grounds suck. Oh my God, they suck. The battles are brutal. You can't sim them until you run out. So they're a pain. Basically what I utilize for mine now, because I don't need to do Proving Grounds, I got all the characters finally, I will use it on gear or things like that. So that's up to you how you want to handle it. Datacron store. So again, if you're doing Conquest, don't buy the boxes. Farm the boxes on the Conquest itself. The one thing I do recommend here, 100%, is buying the 100K for 10. And then if you feel like spending a little bit more, you can spend it here on the 100K as well. And then one of the other things you can do is you can buy the data caches with the blue material as well. But that's a tough call which direction you want to go, but you can get them there. And one of the mistakes I see is on the legend tokens. So the legend tokens that come out of the legendary event, you can get up to, I believe, I think it's 2,400 if I'm not mistaken. 8 times 3. Yeah, it's 2,400. I only farm Omicrons here. The only exception I will give to that is if you're behind on a character. If you've got Cat, Malgus, Trench, Scythe, I had to do Scythe this way. I had to finish up Scythe this way because he was out when I was gone. So I had to do Scythe that way. Save yourself the proving ground. Oh, it's so rough. Once you got all the characters, Omicrons only. Don't touch anything else, please. All right, I'm going to backtrack up here and go to this store. I purposely left this one out because this store's got the most. So what I used to do is I would pick up some of my gear here with the... I used to have over 300K, and I burned through it super freaking fast. I don't do that with the gear anymore. The only thing I get out of here, and this is one of the 2 things I was telling you, 2 relic items you should never run out of, and they're consistent in this store. Some people, my buddy RDCD likes to farm these because, and different ones like that, because you can get the, actually, let me back out here. These are what I'm looking for in the scavenger. You guys know everything's about relics now. In order to get the carbonite circuit boards, you've got to get a lot of gear, and they're really, it doesn't pay out a whole lot. You can see how slowly that's going up, right? So then when you go over to the bronzium wiring, we got value. So these go in order of how valuable they are. Like right here, that only adds 2. Right here, these add 6. And then these at the bottom, because they're sorted by value, will give you 10. So these are the most important ones. Well, this guy right here that I'm clicking, this one is farmed on the same node as the Kairos. So we'll get into that in a second. And most importantly, this is the guy you should never run out of. Look at all these that I have. It's ridiculous, and I'll show you why. You have no excuse. No excuse. If you're doing your guild and your tickets every day, you're going to get this currency. This currency right here at the top, guild tokens. This one, get my fat head out of the way. This one will pop up in the same spot every time. Let me show you where it's at. Scroll down. It's always going to be the one on the far left if you got a 3 screen. It's going to be this guy right here, the Blast Tech weapon mod. It shows up quite a bit. This is the one you want to buy, the blue circled drum one, whatever it is. And I'll show you why. So going back over to the scavenger, never run out of this. You have no excuse. Look at how short I am on the rest. Look at my bronzium. I will never run out of this. This is why. For 1, you get 3. For 10, you get 33. For 100, look at that. Look at that. It calculates, multiplies like crazy. Like crazy. You have no excuse. Do not run out of them. The other one, I'll show you the other one you shouldn't run out of either. It's really freaking simple. If you're doing the raid, I know the raid sucks. It's boring. It's the same thing over, but the rewards are ridiculous. You guys have got to be doing, there's one thing that we maintain in our guild. You 100% have to do, well, a couple TB. Although we don't do all battles because we have enough people to do battles. You have to do the raid. We have to make the 424 box because we're capable of. If your guild's only of the lower boxes, that's fine too. You still get decent rewards. The difference on the raids aren't that significant according to how large your GP is, right? Scroll, 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 scroll. Do not buy any of this junk. All right. If you need a certain character, that's fine. I know early game. I'm not going to tell you not to. Your MK3 raid tokens should be spent only gear to keypad. Do not buy arrow magnifiers. You should have plenty. Seriously. If you have to, fine, but I don't know why you would. Why you'd be out of them. Impulse detectors are very difficult to get. They're very expensive. There's one pack, I think, in game that but if people aren't spending, you don't want to do it. These are your R8 materials, right? You should be spending on that. You can see I've stocked up 40 for an R9, 40 for an R8. And then the Zimbittles. I don't like spending them on the Zimbittles, but I have a hard time getting the Zimbittles. It's really one of the bottlenecks right now with the Kairos. Do not buy the Electrum Conductor unless you absolutely have to. No choice. Bring up the character for something or some event, and you're on the clock. Don't ever again. This is the one you should always never run short of. You should never be out of Erodium heat sinks. Ever. Going as of today, you will always have Erodium heat sinks, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Do not buy these with raid currency. Do not buy this. This is the one I just showed you. I got 3,506 of them. Do not. Don't buy any of this wiring. Any of the circuit boards. Don't do it. There are packs, which I'll show you in a minute, but don't buy the purples. Don't do it. Don't do it. These right here, the med packs, these are needed on tons of characters. There's a better way. These circles, a decent amount of characters. There's a better way. These four, actually these three are left side materials. The one here, here, and the other two going this way. And I'll get into those in a minute too. Don't buy those there either. They're too expensive. They're too expensive. There's a better way. All right. If you're doing your job every day, you want to buy the ones that are going to be, click on it. If there's a lot of characters you're going to need, that one's not so much. This one needs a ton. You should be buying some of these. This one, not so much. And we'll move down here again. Here's the left side materials. Get familiar with those four look like. These are left side gear pieces for gear 12. Left side gear piece to gear 12. This one's going to need a few. This one's going to need a few. This one right here needs a lot. A lot. Get familiar with it. And if you don't know, click on it. Look at all the characters. Now, mind you, most of mine are Relic now, but before mine were, you could scroll forever to the right because everybody needs them. Do not buy characters through here. Malik maybe with the double, but depends on how desperate you are. I've never been at that point. You can buy credits here. I don't mind you buying credits, right? Credits are very important because what are you doing with credits? You're slicing your mods because I know you're doing your darn mods. You better be. The one thing I do suggest buying right here is whatever pops up for slicing material. It's always 100 MK1. It's cheap. Buy it. Buy it, buy it, buy it. All right, moving down. Hopefully I've got it in the store. Boom, it's here. Look at this. 130 MK1 for these guys right here. The hollow projector salvage for 130. You see them? Buy them. They have them in a big pack too. They got the 125. I don't have the mats for it right now, but they will come down here. We'll scroll. You can see we're in the 125 rank right here. They did not pop up for me, but if you buy a few of those for 125, turn around, guys. Come over here. Go to the scavenger. This is the other one. Do not run out of this material. Go to your heat sinks. Craft. Look at this. I got 184. How many did I have before? 198 right now. I got 184 of these. Bing, 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 bing. There's 100 more. And we're good. Then we come over here. Now we got 25 more. Cheap. Cheap. Seriously, super cheap. You should never, ever, ever, ever run out of heat sinks. I could do a better job of doing it, but I buy other stuff. But I don't need to because I pay attention to where it's at. Super cheap. All right. Heat sinks, super cheap. Chromium transistor, super cheap. All right. And then the last one here. All right, guys, here is your teaser. If you want to be able to unsubscribe because you still haven't found a thing you didn't already know, you still got to watch part 2 before you can take me up on that. So go over to this video right here. Much love. 1 Battalion strong. Video part 2.